Shut up and sit down. And sit down.
All right, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the 360 Sports Show. We're coming to you live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. Thank you for finding us here on a Monday night, championship night in the NCAA Division I football season. So we'll keep you abreast of everything happening in that game tonight between Alabama and Georgia, but we have a mighty lot to get through, sift through, pick through, argue about, vent about, celebrate an insane day in the NFL yesterday. So getting to all of that along with your thoughts and comments in any of the comment sections of the live stream or by emailing us at the360sportshow@gmail.com. I'm Adrian Pizzelli. He's Christian Lauber. Christian, I won't even ask you how you're doing because I already know. So how about you just go ahead wherever you want to start. We start, and I will just let you set the mood and set the tone for episode 104. In fact, we had our 100th episode not too long ago, but today is the 2-year anniversary of the show. How about that?
Well, look at that. 2 years ago. Feels like a long 2 years.
Decade ago.
Yeah. I don't even know where to start. There was a lot of bad. I don't know what you're celebrating, but there was a lot of bad in terms of Pats Dolphins, but I'll just start around the league. I mean, Steelers are in the playoffs. That's not great news. I don't know what terrible news. They're going to muck up one of these games in the playoffs. It's going to be a boring product, but hey, good for them, I guess. The Chargers are dumb. They should be in the playoffs, right? I mean, we should be watching Justin Herbert instead of Ben Roethlisberger, which, look, good for Big Ben, whatever you want to say. He's going out on a higher note than getting bounced in the last game of the regular season. But I'm not a Steelers fan, so I don't really care. I think he's had a pretty good career, right? I mean, arguably a Hall of Famer, probably a Hall of Famer. I would say probably easily so, just based on who gets in nowadays. But not a fun product to watch this season. And so the Chargers are dumb. The Raiders are in, and the Steelers are in. So, yeah, I don't know what we're celebrating. I'll let you.
I just meant that yesterday, from the get-go, was insanely entertaining. I mean, that should win some sort of television primetime award. I mean, the product of football yesterday was very, very, very good.
I would say early in the day it was pretty good, yeah.
So I mean, I just think the insanity yesterday started, and we're gonna get to later on previewing the playoffs and those matchups, but we'll start with what's freshest in our minds. The day kicked off because coming into the week there was all this, the talk about the last game, Chargers Raiders, the scenario. What if this scenario comes up where a tie and they're both in? Would both teams even try? Would in some crazy world where they just said to, hey, forget the spirit of the game. Let's just secure our own playoff destinies. Could it happen? Would it happen? It was all predicated on the Colts losing to the Jaguars, which everyone said, that's not going to happen. Well, you can't spell Colts without a big, fat L, which... Oh my God. Talk about disappointments. Like, Patriots fans are disappointed in yesterday. There's teams that are disappointed. Indianapolis Colts 3 weeks ago was the team no one would want to play. Well, now no one is playing them. because they decided to not show up. Credit the Jaguars for wanting to show up and go all out when they had the number 1 pick maybe on the line. They didn't know Detroit was going to beat Green Bay. And so the Colts looked like they just expected to just roll out and win. And the Jaguars, who are not good, we saw that in person 2 weeks ago. The Patriots put 50 on them, and the Colts go out there and just... I know Carson Wentz is not the answer, but still, best running back in the league. You should be the better team. They still are the better team. They didn't show up at all. So that set off the chain of events yesterday, which culminated with that just absolutely epic Raiders-Chargers game. Before we get into everything about that game, your thoughts on the Colts and just, I think, probably the most embarrassing. Mac Jones said yesterday was embarrassing. No, sorry, Mac. The most embarrassing thing yesterday was the Colts losing to the Jaguars. Putrid.
Mac Jones was embarrassing yesterday, but we'll get to that. The Colts, I just don't know where you have to find another quarterback now, right? You invested in Carson Wentz, so do you have to keep him? I don't know. But if in my mind, you have to find another quarterback because I think this team has a lot of talent. Extremely, extremely embarrassing that you lose to the Jaguars after they got blown out. What was it? 50-7, 50-3, whatever it was. There's absolutely no reason to lose that game. I don't care who you are. If you're a playoff team, you beat the Jacksonville Jaguars and you literally walk into the playoffs easily. Instead, it goes the complete opposite way. And that's the Colts for you. I don't know. I feel like they were, I don't even know what they finished. Was it 9-8?
9-8.
Something like that. So like they were up and down all year. And I feel like if they got into the playoffs, they would be somewhat dangerous to maybe, sneak out a win at the lower seeding in the wild card. But here you are. You have to beat the Jaguars, and you can't do it. So obviously, you deserve to be where you are. I mean, that's just
home.
I don't know what else to say. I mean, I can't believe they lost to a team that is going for the number 1 pick. They're basically not even there. I mean, it's just, credit to them. I do give them credit because they came out and they tried hard. I mean, that, like I said last week, players are going to play. It doesn't matter if, they don't care about the number 1 pick right now. They're going to go and play the game because they have to play it. That's their job. So guys are going to try hard, and kudos to them because they did. And I feel like maybe the Colts weren't ready for it, which I don't know. You get punched in the mouth. That's it. But yeah, they kind of wilted here at the end of the season, especially after you beat the Patriots. You're kind of looking good after the bye. Sneak out a couple more wins, you're clearly in. And instead, complete opposite way.
Yeah. Well, I mean, with all the talk about teams, should you not try? Should you go for the number 1 pick? Ooh, do you go for the tie? I think the story yesterday is teams trying to win. You had Detroit trying to win. You have the Jaguars trying to win. The Texans, even though they lost, not giving up all day long against the Titans, who had kind of really nothing much to play for. I mean, they had the number 1 pick, obviously, or the number 1 seed, in their grasp. But really, week 18, I'm sure they were trying to, they were one of the more injured teams all year, trying to manage some guys. And then you get to the night game where, going in now, the Colts have lost. Both teams could just say, well, hey, I'll punt it to you. You punt it to me, and we'll see you in the playoffs. And both teams went out, and that was like the game of the year. I mean, I was keeping tabs on it, and kind of watching it, and then going and doing some other stuff, and coming back. I wasn't glued to it because I was looking at the score. I was like, and then it got to like a 15-point game. I was like, I don't know if the tie is going to be in play here. And then the fourth quarter happened, and a 19-play, 2-minute and 6-second, but 25-minute real-time drive from Justin Herbert and the Chargers to go down, score a touchdown, completing 4 on fourth down on that drive, something insane. Yep. And I was so terrified for the poor Chargers kicker because I was like, watch, these guys are going to score this touchdown, and this kicker's going to come out here. Talk about pressure. Everything you've gone through to get to this point. He made it. They forced overtime. And the fact that game got to overtime, and not just that, with all the speculation, came down to the final play. The tie was in play. That's the craziest part of it all. And you had both teams score in overtime, which you don't always see. That's rare. So the fact that all this speculation, oh, should they go for the tie? They get to overtime. Oh, should they just play for the tie? It comes down to the final play. A tie is a missed field goal, or maybe, Brandon Staley, how about you just don't call timeout for no reason when the Raiders are clearly trying to just bleed the clock? And it's a tie game, and we all go nuts because everyone's rooting for the tie. Steelers fans are apoplectic. And the Chargers and Raiders, who showed that they deserve to be there, I think both deserve to be playoff teams. You both go in. And you had at least tried to win the game. You both had tried. But instead...
What a surprise. It came down to coaching with the Chargers. Yet again, here we are.
Yeah. That's another team. And what do you... I don't know. All the teams that have been super aggressive. I mean, now, granted, we'll see how far Cincy goes. I mean, it was really that Kansas City game that they got kind of out of control with it. It wasn't an all-year thing for them. But you look at Staley and you look at John Harbaugh, both those teams, not in the playoffs. Missing by fractions. So, I don't know. I hopefully that changes the mindset of some of these guys next year. I mean, what? 4th and 2 and you're going for it on your own 18, right? With the Chargers, something like that. Or 4th and 6. Something stupid. Insane.
Calling that timeout is a fireable offense.
Maybe, especially because you hear the Raiders after. I mean, his explanation makes sense. Well, we wanted to get the right personnel out there to defend what we thought they were going to do. And you want to try and make it a longer field goal. Okay. But you can tell they're in no particular rush. And guess what? Swapping out one linebacker for a safety, it didn't make much difference, dude. You wanted the right personnel on the field, then you gave up a 13-yard run.
Exactly. That's my point. Is just let it go. I mean, you can clearly tell they're just trying to run clock. And if if he breaks a hole and he gets to the end zone, Jacobs that is, then so be it. Whatever. You lose the game anyway. But instead, you call a timeout to stop the clock, make the Raiders go, oh, wait a minute here. If we just run and we can kick a field goal and just win the game. Screw it.
Yeah, I think it was one of those, who was going to blink first? And Michaels and Collinsworth said it. Who calls a timeout? Do you call a timeout? Would you want to? I think both teams, I think the Raiders were content. And what's crazy, too, that last play, the field goal, the only team that didn't care what happened was the Raiders. They're good either way. If that goes through, yay, we win. If it misses, oh well, we're in the playoffs. Talk about no pressure for Carlson. The only pressure was, every other team was hanging on that. Steelers fans are hanging on that. Chargers fans are hanging on that. They cut to Justin Herbert on the sideline. He's like, dude, you can read his lips. I've never wanted a tie so bad.
Yeah, I saw it. Yeah. Especially, how do you think that guy feels? He's just uncorks the ball 60 times and gets you down there, and then your coach calls a timeout and you lose a tie. I mean, it's so Chargers to do that, though. I mean, it just makes so much sense.
No, the other thing, Christian, they scored that touchdown at the end of regulation, and I thought to myself, will Staley go for 2?
I thought about it too. Honestly,
will this crazy man go for 2?
I would have done it. Why not? But honestly, I would have.
No, you wouldn't have.
I would have bet in the final.
You're a play it safe
5 minutes of that game. No, I'm not. I would have bet in the final 5 minutes of that game that one of the two coaches would have screwed it up. I don't know which it was going to be. It seemed like all night that it was going to be the Chargers, just based on how the Raiders were playing. They were pretty good all night, and they scored 37. But it's like everybody wants this tie, and I could just see it coming. I'm just like, someone's going to make a boneheaded mistake here and lose it, and one of these teams is going to be knocked out when it should be these two in and the Steelers out.
Yeah. So that was just that game. It was you had to stop and just because it was incredible. And I think the game went in such a way that if it ended in a tie, nobody would have looked at it and said, well, I think something's fishy here, which I was open for. I always root for chaos. If I don't have a dog in a fight, I always root for chaos. And that game ending in a tie would have been beautiful chaos, with the benefit, as you said, of knocking Ben Roethlisberger out of the playoffs, because that team has had an awful year. I thought it was a good story for him to get his win in Pittsburgh. His final game in Pittsburgh. I still also just don't know if this is it for him. I don't know. He's like kind of doing the like farewell tour here at the
Oh,
end.
I think it's it. I mean, you
think
see how
it
it looks
is?
like he's throwing a lump of bricks out there. I don't know. It's just
Oh, true. I mean, it's definitely it for him in Pittsburgh, but I mean, he's done this before. He will cry at the end of the year press conference and say he doesn't know if this is it. That was like 3 years ago.
but who would want him over another quarterback right now? I just don't. I don't see it. But
Stop.
I feel like
He's Dan Campbell.
he's like the 2022 Cam Newton. I don't know. It's just like
True.
pick your poison. What is he gonna go? He's gonna go to Indy and lose them that game. Yeah, great.
Yeah. So I don't know, but anyway, they'll be in the place. We'll talk about that matchup here in a little bit because they're gonna have to play Kansas City, and I don't. But let's get to the Patriots Dolphins game, which technically ended up meaning nothing. The Bills Jets game was close for a moment, so there was this like, oh my God, watch, are the Jets gonna win this game? And now the Patriots could have had the division and they screwed.
Could they have changed seating though?
After the results of last night, I don't think it would have changed. I think they would have been right where they are. Or no.
Because they would have been
what? Because they're where right now? They're 6.
I don't know if they're behind the Raiders, but they would have been. That might have flipped. I don't know.
Let's not guess.
Yeah, they would have been in front of the Bengals and the Raiders, right? 11-6. I mean, so you probably get.
Yeah, so they would have been the 4 seed. And so you would have been.
That means nothing, but
yeah.
I guess it depends if you'd rather have the Bills or whoever else they would get.
I guess, given the way this is situated, they would have been hosting the Raiders if they had won.
And you lost to the Dolphins.
So, home
Twice.
game, yeah, and it did end up costing you something. But, more importantly, coming into the game, it wasn't win the game. It was play well. Win or lose, play well, stay healthy. Neither of those things happened.
There you go. Yeah. They did not pass the test.
You played terribly once again. Did not play a full 60 minutes. You did not escape the game injury free. And
they did catch a break there, it looks like, though. With Barmore anyway.
And thirdly, and this is going to be my whole we could get into all the situations of the game if you want to break down situations of the game, folks. Ask us questions in the comment section. We can go through some situations.
Oh, I'll give you some breakdown.
But I think more importantly, and more telling is, once again, I've been saying this for weeks. This team lost a game with the defense on the field needing to get a stop.
I love how this is where you go. It's just uncanny.
This is the story of the year, though. They don't make any winning plays in the fourth quarter. Now, the offense had a terrible game. I'm not saying they're absolved. But at the end of the day, just like
you just gave them an excuse. You gave them an excuse that the defense couldn't get off the field.
Listen, very rarely do you see an actual full 60 minutes played. NFL games have ups and downs. And yes,
you rarely see 15 minutes played. How about that? Can we go there?
The offense has been starting slow, which has contributed to these losses recently, because I think they have to play from ahead. Because I don't think they're that good on defense to play close games like this in the fourth quarter against good teams. They haven't been all year long. But once again,
can't play from behind. They have proven they can't play from behind.
Yes.
Is that where we're on the same page with that one?
Yes, they cannot play from behind.
Okay, I have
but either way,
drive breakdown.
Fourth quarter, I can just say this, and you can picture all of their losses. Fourth quarter, you've been down. Offense goes and starts making some plays. It's a one possession or less. It's a 4 or 5 point game. Offense has had a couple of drives. Feel like you have something. Defense, go out and get that stop. There's like 3 minutes left, 4 minutes left. Go get that stop. Get our offense the ball back, and we can go win or tie the game. They haven't done it once in that scenario. Not once. The whole year. In all of their losses, all 7 of their losses happened the exact same way. And now, there's plenty of other blame elsewhere for how you got in those situations. In the Colts game, you start terribly offensively. You have blocked punts. You throw pick sixes. But I felt like all year the offense was going to be a unit that could put in the range of 24, 27 points. You'd be in that ballpark, and the defense would have to help carry you to some wins. They did against the bad teams who happened to be in the middle of their schedule when they went on their little win streak. But yesterday, 24 points, right? Despite everything going wrong, if the defense could just go out and get a stop, now you win that game. Maybe you win the Bills game if J.C. Jackson hangs on to a pick. Maybe you could win the Colts game. Sometimes you steal games. The Patriots never stole a game this year. Never. Not once. And so, like I've said, since the Atlanta game, we can roll tape on this. They're going to be a playoff team with a fatal flaw on defense that will lose in the first round.
Yeah, but the Miles Bryant wasn't on the field. That was your fatal flaw.
Yeah, well, they replaced him with Joe Juwan.
It's not like
Williams
was picking them apart.
No, well, guess what? Final play of the game, right? Essentially, 3rd and 8. And me and you differ on whether Matthew Judon, got too far upfield and gave up that rushing lane, yada, yada, yada. Guess what? Joanne Williams, don't just stand flat-footed at the first down and wait for the guy to come to you and juke you out of your cleats. Go make the tackle.
I wish this was a better player because then I'd have an excuse here, because I think this is partly on the NFL that does this, though. You see a guy like Tua, and it happened earlier in the game with Brandon Bolden hitting a guy that's a runner. I don't care if it's a punter, if it's a fan, they are a runner. So if you go to hit them, it's not a penalty, right?
It's Antonio Brown in the end zone.
God, yeah, I mean, look, I just think it's like this guy only runs, right? Tua is basically just a runner. I mean, I don't know what else to say. He basically runs a peewee football offense, and he runs around. It's not super impressive what the Dolphins were doing on offense. Their defense is pretty good. They're flying around. They disguise some stuff. They play with effort, and they have some decent talent.
Oh, they were coached. They were coached up. They were coached and prepared for that game.
Yeah, let's fire that guy. Terrible coach. I just think like we do differ on the Judon thing. That's fine, but if I feel like this is on the NFL partly because innately a guy goes to tackle someone, and especially a quarterback, maybe they think they're going to slide or whatever, and he goes to hit him, and he breathes on him a little bit too much, and there's a flag. So maybe you tackle him at the 2 yards before the first down marker, and then you get a penalty for 15 more. So I feel like it's partly on the NFL. Unfortunately, it was Jawan Williams, who has not played much this year. So maybe I don't have a case, but I just feel like somewhat it's this thing that guys have in their minds, like, what am I going to do here? Tua's coming at me. He's going towards the first down. Do I risk hitting him in the helmet? Do I risk going down and trying to tackle him at the knees and I get a penalty?
Well, instead he just stood there and then dove at him and dove into his own plair. So
yeah, well, that's
whammy.
Half the problem. But I mean, it's just like one of those weird things in the NFL that I feel like Jawan Williams is not the only one that's done that with a quarterback this year. I guarantee it. I would have to find actual examples, but I think you can see it all over the league. I mean, there's hesitancy sometimes there with players tackling, especially a quarterback.
Okay. But my bottom line is it's on the defense. I think this offense, while we say it should, we expect it to be better and do more, I've said right along, a rookie quarterback putting up 24, 27 points a game, what we thought the defense was going to be and should be for this team, that's the disappointment. The offense, seeing it as it's gone for the year, yeah. I mean, it would have been great for them to put up 30-something points yesterday, but them winning games with rookie Mac Jones like it's 2011 and Brady has to put up 35 a game because the defense can't get stops, that was never the expectation. The expectation was to control the ball, play mistake-free football, and win on defense. And now, they didn't play mistake-free football on either side yesterday, but situationally, they have been bad in all phases all year long, but it's mostly on the defense. The offense has never had a chance in it to pull out one of these games late when it's not their day. And that's on the defense, because we thought that unit would be better. That would be the strength of the team. That's where I hang my hat and say, that's the biggest issue, that's the biggest problem. Christian, if you disagree with that, the floor is yours now.
Boy, do I. I just think it's just like, I don't know why we ignore 3/4 of a game. I cannot, can't get that through my head. I mean, we've done this for a few weeks now. It's the same revolving door. We're ignoring 3/4 of the game because they put up 20 in the fourth quarter. It just makes no sense. I mean, it's like the defense didn't go off the field. Look, they underachieved this year. They should have been way better, and they should have been way better in the last half of the year here, or last quarter, whatever you want to call it. They were decent in the middle. Outside of that, underachieved, especially before the 7-game win streak and after the bye. Just terrible. But with that being said, you're down 14-20 every single game here in the past 3-4 weeks, except for against Jacksonville. How much stock do I put in that now? I mean, it's like -6. It's here. I'll give you a question. So, is a rating of 12 good in the NFL?
The number 12 is good.
How about a quarterback rating of 12?
No.
Okay. All right. So your quarterback rating for Mac Jones yesterday was 12. Look, he had a pretty good year. For a rookie, really good year.
His rating for the whole game was 12.
His QBR was like 50 and his rating was 12. Yeah. And look, I think he had a good year. I'm not here to dump on Mac Jones. I think he had a pretty good rookie year, all things considered. And he was probably in the middle of the pack in passing. So that's kind of where I wanted him, in that 12 to 17 range. But your defense just comes out and totally can't stop a nosebleed on the first drive. So you're already down 7-0. The Patriots get the ball, and it's an immediate pick six almost. So now you're down 14-0, and the game's pretty much over from there, because you can't win these type of games because you're down and you're from behind, right? So you go touchdown Dolphins, interception touchdown, then you get the ball right back and you go 5 plays and you punt. Offense not moving the ball. You're down 14-0. Miami gets a field goal, then you finally score, and then again in the second half. You get a field goal to come out, not good enough. You got to score touchdowns, especially when you're in the red zone. They get down to the Miami 20 and stall out all day long. And then the Dolphins go right back down and score a touchdown. So it seems like the first quarter, slow start. Second quarter, same thing. Or second half, rather, slow start. And then Miami scores. So you got, okay, here's Mac Jones. This is prime time. You got to go get a score here. Fumble in Miami territory, a good field position. So it's just like, we're ignoring the 3 quarters because the defense didn't get off the field at the end. I just think that's so weird. They scored 14 points in the fourth quarter. They didn't score, 6 maybe? 10 before that? And they're down 10-24. This team was never going to win games down 17-0, down 14-0. They're just not built that way, especially when the defense is not really playing as well as they should have.
So you would just feel better if it had been 7 points in each quarter, or 6 points here, 3 points there, 7 points here, 7 points in the fourth quarter, and the score is what the score is. But you can at least say, well, the offense was consistent from quarter to quarter.
At least you're in the game. Sure. You just said to me that the Patriots can't win from behind, right?
No, they
so
can't.
You get behind, and then you're just like, oh, well, let's fast forward to the fourth quarter when they all of a sudden here they can score in the fourth quarter because, there's urgency, but it's the defense fault. How about when the defense gets off the field in the other stretch of the game there?
Yeah. No, I mean, listen, I didn't say that the offense was good yesterday. I just think for the people who have placed expectations on this team, and who anybody who's had any expectations for this team going anywhere this year, you have to look at the defense. Because even if the offense is better yesterday and
I don't disagree with that part of it.
Even if the offense is better and doesn't turn it over, the defense is a problem. And I mean, they need to spend. We'll have plenty of time for this. Come Monday, when I think the season will be over, they have to spend, I think, a lot of draft capital on that side of the ball next year, because Devin McCourty has lost a step. Dante Hightower, Kyle Van Noy, they have a lot of experience. It shows the speed, the lack of it shows with their ability to hold the edge and contain guys.
Hightower and Duggar would have been nice yesterday. Obviously, you want health anyway, but
yeah,
those guys probably could have helped you yesterday.
Yeah, and that's a little bit of a part of it too. But I think,
How do you feel about Duggar versus Juwan
Jawan
Williams making that
Williams.
tackle on Tua.
I
Yeah,
think Tua probably doesn't even get past the line of scrimmage because Duggar's flying up there to recognize that and make a play, not just standing there like a deer in the headlights. Nick in the comment section, I do feel confident that Mack can lead us to a comeback. The defense always chokes it. I mean, yeah,
we just don't know. I mean, we don't know.
Well, that's the thing. I wanted to see
and I
Mack
did too.
have that chance.
Yeah.
And we never could. Never did. It is on them to the offense to play better. That is obvious. I don't disagree that they need to get off to better starts if they want to be a better team. Unless Mack is going to become more of a prolific passer, next year, the year after that, maybe if they get him some different weapons, some more weapons, they can. Right now, they're a ball control reliant offense.
Yeah, that's part of the offense too, though. And I don't put full blame on Mac Jones only because he's not calling the plays. It's not like he's out there being the coordinator. Like McDaniels has not been good this year. I know everybody, like Jay Feely yesterday on the broadcast was just tongue bathing Josh McDaniels. And it's just like, I just don't see it. I get you want to manage Mac Jones. To me, I've seen Mac Jones throw a pick, make a mistake, come right back and march down the field. So I don't understand some of the time when you get in situations where you need a score, you're in the red zone, you're passing down the field, and then you run it twice to Brandon Bolden in the red zone, which is just not your strength.
Yeah. Which is fine if they get to like the 1 or 2 yard line. It's like, hey, all right, you know what? Let's go power punch it in. Because that is a strength. But like they get
21,
they get to like the 20, the 20, the 15, and it's like, okay, let's run draw. And then like they lost like 2 minutes, 2+ minutes on their last touchdown drive because of running plays. Trying to just keep the defense on its toes. Guess what? Justin Herbert went like 90 yards in 2 minutes and 19 plays, throwing it every down. So I do think that's going to be part of the development to watch in the years forward is what.
I mean, I think we just want to, we talked about offense, defense. I think even a bigger part of this is coaching on down right from the top. The mental mistakes in these games, Lawrence Guy lining up over the center on a field goal, special teams.
As I say, it's not about the game. It's looking at the mistakes and the systemic things that are common throughout all of these losses.
But are not normally common in New England.
No.
So it's like, where do you start with that? I don't know if it's just because, look, they're going to lose. They might lose more coaches here this year. They just have nobody there. I don't. You tell me a name of a coach. I don't think you recognize them other than, obviously Belichick's son, Steve, and Gerard Mayo. Outside of that,
Troy Brown.
There's a couple guys, but they're down the list, right? I mean, they're not like, but again, they're not like heavy names. It's not like they've just been there forever.
Yeah.
I mean, Troy Brown was a player here, and now he's a coach, and I think he can do a good job. But like,
no, there's special teams this year.
Who's the special teams? Who's the O-line? I mean, all in all, I think the O-line's been fine, but it's just the mental mistakes overall.
Yeah. No, the special teams, especially for a team that invests and makes special teams a focus.
Heavily, yeah.
Special teams have been awful. Outside of Nick Folk, who, guess what? Just does his job. There's no coaching involved. I don't think anybody's coaching Nick Folk. The dude's just a robot. He just shows up and just does his job and makes all of his kicks.
Yeah.
But their coverage has been bad. Their return game has not been good. And then the mistakes. I mean, multiple times this year they've been. I mean, block punts. I think they have 3 block punts on the year. That's the most in the league. That's embarrassing. The mistakes to give up first downs. I mean, simple stuff. Guys jumping off. It's like you're off the field. Just who cares? Trying to go for a block. Just let him kick it away and get the ball back. Why are you trying to get an edge? Lining up over the center to then what? Try and shift and what? Cause a false start so they have to back up 5. Why? Very frustrating.
Another problem was with the penalties yesterday is Ed Hockley's son loves to talk. So if he doesn't hear himself at least 55 times a game, it's like it's not a good day. I mean,
we'll get into some more NFL officiating stuff later. But the best of that, to sum up NFL officiating this year, was the replay of the Kendrick Bourne play where he's close to a first down. And they go look at it, They spend like 5 minutes reviewing it. They come back and they announce, we will respot the ball 6 inches further. How you came to that conclusion, I have no idea.
They also, I'm pretty sure they put it in the same spot.
They go to the field. It's not like the ball was sitting somewhere and Hockley came over and said, okay, let me kind of 6 inches, move it up. Somebody handed him a ball and he just kind of stood there and went, I think this was like it. It basically put it back in the exact same place, if not further back.
I don't know if they know.
And then we miss other plays. We review that, and then we'll miss face mask calls, holding calls. Oh, a guy didn't even touch somebody, but we're not going to review that. We're just going to throw a flag.
15 yards.
Awful. Awful.
They were not good all year, pretty much. I mean, that's just pretty clear.
Colin in the comment section, Pat's going to draft defense heavy again. Got to get that number 2 corner. Yep. McCourty and Hightower replacement could use more line depth. As much as I would love to draft a real receiver, no, not unless they go get the GM from the Vikings or the Steelers. As much as I would love to draft a real receiver, maybe on offense, we just need to trust that Mack will grow with what he has. Special teams coach must go. And Nick also adds, I'm sorry, but Gunnar Olszewski sucks, and we need a better returner. No. I mean, the guy was all pro last year.
I disagree. Yeah, I mean,
I think
Gunnar's
he's just
actually
not
pretty good.
I just think
the problem. It's the blocking in front of him.
Yeah,
he's got nowhere to go. I mean, he's just and when he actually gets moving, he's pretty good. I mean, you just mentioned it. I think he was definitely all pro last year. No.
Yep, he was an all pro returner last year.
He's pretty good. I don't mind the return game. It's just what's in front of him is just not working.
Yeah. Keeping it.
And also, I do agree. Heavy on defense again, 100%. You need more speed. You need guys flying around. You look at all the defenses now. There's guys that are running sideline to sideline, and they're linebackers. They can cover. It's just all over the NFL now. Patriots are just too slow. I mean, they got to get better on defense, and I am going absolutely nowhere near a wide receiver in the draft. I've seen enough of that.
Did you see enough of? I mean, talk about other big games. You know, the Niners down 17-0. They come back.
I like Jimmy G
and win. That was a show up game for Jimmy G and Deebo Samuel. You know, guy who was taking 3 picks after N'Keal Harry. Who honestly, I mean, I guess it was because he was a practice squad guy and they can only call him up so many times. You know, Wilkerson couldn't be in the game yesterday. Can we fix that? Can we just get him on the active roster? Because
why? And we saw it again yesterday. Mac Jones trying to force the ball to N'Keal Harry, and sure enough, goes way over everybody. And N'Keal Harry,
him and I think Bourne almost ran into each other.
Yeah, I just get that guy off the field, please. It's over, Bill. It's over. The experiment is over. I feel like he's just. I think I said this before. I literally think he's just trying to help his ego here and put N'Keal Harry in the game so it makes it look like he can play. For his own draft's sake.
Yep.
Just let it go, Bill. Just let it go. The guy who can't play requested a trade from the team. I mean, it's just nowhere near a wide receiver this year. Nope. Defense. That's all I want.
Yeah. And maybe a left hand. I mean, Isaiah Wynn has been this year, but I mean, I'd be happy getting, some reinforcements along that offensive line. Nick says we should draft the cornerback out of Cincinnati. I think his name is Ahmad Gardner. Kid hasn't let up a touchdown in college. Speaking of
never heard of
college, Alabama is playing Georgia tonight in the football championship. That game should have kicked off, but evidently it is not, at least according to Google. So don't know what's going on.
Time says 8 p.m., but we all know that the festivities are really about 15, 20 minutes.
So we'll keep our tabs on that. I mean, we're really not breaking it down too much because everybody expects Alabama to win. It's just
go Georgia. That's all the breakdown you need.
Yeah. So certainly if Georgia is to win, we will be talking about it in depth next week. But for now, the game's happening. We'll update you here on the live show as it goes along. Podcast listeners will be like, old news already happened. One way or another. You're idiots. Georgia won. But that's that. So that's enough. I think enough complaining about what was. Any other grievances you want to get out, Christian, about
Who
yesterday?
complained? Who complained?
Who complained?
Who complained? I didn't hear any of that.
But so let's delve into these playoff matchups. And so we'll start in the NFC and then go to the AFC. Buccaneers and Eagles, Cowboys, Niners, Rams, Cardinals. I think the NFC side is very fascinating because, I mean, Green Bay, they get to sit at home. All these other teams, I really don't know what to make. I mean, I think they all earned their spot. I mean, even the Eagles, who are the 7th seed, I think they're a dangerous team. I don't know if they'll be able to hang with the Bucs, but the Bucs aren't exactly at full strength. So I really like this NFC side. I mean, the Rams trending down at the end. Cardinals, we're trying to build some momentum. They have faltered down the stretch. The Niners, I look at the Niners. They could be like that 2011 Giants where they just kind of laid in the weeds all year long, inconsistent. But now they're in. And if their quarterback plays well and that defense does what it does, they can beat anybody. I think that's going to be the biggest message out of this whole thing is I think the AFC side, we might kind of just see things stay to par. The NFC side, I think you could definitely see some upsets.
Yeah, totally agree. I mean, look, I think the AFC, you look at the top of it, really, and it's Chiefs, Titans, Bills, right? I mean, outside of that, I guess there's a shot one of those other teams comes through, but I would pick the other three before anybody else. NFC side, yeah. I mean, I feel like these teams are taking games off everybody. I don't even know. I didn't even catch the matchups, but Tampa's playing the Eagles. Is that correct or no?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, look, I think ultimately I'm still all in on Tampa until they prove they're not going to be there because they have the best player of all time. Who let that guy go? I can't believe someone let that guy go. But still, I mean, like the Rams 49ers, that would be a close matchup. I think pretty much outside of Green Bay, who pukes on themselves anyway, it's pretty competitive on that side. And I would not be surprised if some of the lower teams, even the Eagles, I mean, I don't see them beating Tampa, but they could make it interesting anyway. I mean, Tampa's not at full strength. And all these teams have been playing pretty closely all year long. So definitely more interest in the NFC, I'll be honest. I mean, the AFC kind of is what it is. I mean, the Bengals are an exciting story, I guess. But I feel like it's the same old three. I mean, the Titans are right there if they get Henry back fully functioning.
With an extra week, too. That's what's huge for them.
Yeah, true. And the bye. And then I guess you move down from there, but it's really just Chiefs. I mean, Chiefs, Bills. Outside of that, what is it?
Yeah, I mean, I think and the thing is, the two teams that I think are most exciting in the playoffs, for the AFC to see what happens, one of them's going to get eliminated right off the bat. The Bengals and the Raiders are going to play each other.
Right.
So those are the two kind of like wild card teams, and they end up one's going to knock the other out. The Raiders, I think, have a little something. I mean, given everything they've had to go through all year long, you lose your coach, they lose a star player, just all of the turmoil around the team. And to find a way down the stretch, it wasn't always pretty, but to find a way to get in, I think Derek Carr has a little bit of that something, like just that intangible, there's an aura kind of around him, I think, in the offense right now. You disagree? You don't feel like there's a little juice with that team? Just finding ways to win?
I feel like they could score 40 one week and then 3 another. I just don't trust them.
I don't guess, but they're winning games. I don't know. I have a feeling.
Well, technically they would have tied yesterday if not for a dumb coaching decision. So.
I have a feeling about them. But unfortunately, They're playing the Bengals in the first round, and that's not going to be an easy matchup.
Unfortunately for the Raiders, usually your feelings are not great, so they're probably going to get blown out now. I'm gonna pick the opposite of what you
We're
said.
back. We're back to this. The power of my words. The power of the opposite of my words.
Exactly. It's the opposite. That's the key factor there.
The matchup I think that's going to be the least entertaining is Steelers Chiefs, because I think the Steelers will probably find a way to muck this game up, but realistically, the Chiefs at home nigh unbeatable, and so
they also already blew out the Steelers. So normally I'd say the Steelers could kind of make it interesting. I just don't see it in this one.
Yeah,
not at Arrowhead
with Big Ben throwing, what did you say, boulders?
Basically, a lump of bricks. It literally looks like he's just he needs like a crane or something to carry him. I don't know. It's just he doesn't look right. And I'm sorry, the Steelers offense is not going to keep up with Patrick Mahomes if the Chiefs are on. It's just there's absolutely no way.
Over under Big Ben picks 2.5.
I'll take the over.
Take the over.
Why not? Just for fun.
Who he goes out like in Brett Favre style, just chucking and ducking. Dan Marino. Look how Dan Marino went out. What, he throw 6 picks in his final game?
Like that. Oof. Not ideal.
We thought that was going to be the case last year. He did this, he played the Browns, and we said,
true, yeah,
this could be Big Ben's final game. Watch this. The Steelers team is frauds. They're going to go out. They're going to lay an egg versus Cleveland. He played awful in that game. We thought, this is it. Dude's got to retire, right? He came back for a little more. He
wants one more go at it.
He wanted more. So we will be picking the games later on, but just a little bit of a preview of our thoughts. And so now we are going to move on to our next segment, which is Hot and Not.
It's time for Hot.
Hot.
You want to talk about hot?
Hot.
Please stop doing that.
Doing what?
Continue. Go ahead.
And not.
God, is he a moron? Oh my God, he doesn't shut up.
It's so stupid.
Stupid decisions.
Dum-dums. The naughtiest knot of the year.
Oof. Suck fest. Suck sauce.
On the 360 Sports Show.
All right. Hot and Not. Christian, take it away. Who's on the hot list for you this week?
Well, I had a few, but then last night I was watching the return of Klay Thompson, and it was fantastic. It's a cool story. Whether you're a fan of the Golden State Warriors and what they've done in the past, it's a cool story. He's been out for a while. Came back, got injured again. So to see a guy like that come back and just kind of ball out, he didn't play very much. He played like under 20 minutes, but he scored like 17 points. He posterized somebody. He was making plays all over the place. Just an electric kind of night for him. And you like to see guys come back like that. It's just kind of a cool story. So I went way of Klay Thompson.
Yeah, I agree. He had an awesome night. And plus, think about this. He hasn't played this decade.
I know. It's insane.
Game 6 of the 2019 NBA Finals was the last time he was in a game. So just an absolute odyssey for him. The mental toughness to go through all that rehab, that's incredible.
Oh, yeah.
Unfortunately, Draymond Green tweaked his ankle or something in the pregame, so he didn't play. So it's it's been forever since those three have been all together on the court. My hot, staying in the NBA, the Memphis Grizzlies got a big win last night versus the Los Angeles Lakers. Did you see Ja Morant's block?
Jumping jaw, yeah. Ridiculous.
I gotta see. Let me see if I can pull up a clip of this.
He got his head above the backboard. It's just ridiculous.
We will tweet this out on our 360 Sports Show at 360 Sports Show Twitter. I want to try and find a good one for you here. Here we go. So for our live listeners, you'll be able to see this right now. If you're our podcast listener, thank you for finding us on Sounder FM or wherever you get your podcasts from. You can find this on our Twitter. So here we go. Avery Bradley had a steal. And here comes Ja Morant. He touches, he grabs the ball. And he's literally 3/4 of the way up the backboard, or halfway up the backboard. Just freakish.
It's not like we're talking about a guy who's like, 6'8", 6'9". I mean, look how high he gets up there.
And to come down, I mean, also watch his right foot when he lands. I mean, just to be able to take that amount of
Yeah.
pressure, not on this view. I think on the first view, when this comes back through again, I'll try and watch his foot. Yank! Oh God,
Yeah.
just to not shatter your ankles. Unbelievable. I mean, the full speed view too is
Freakish athlete.
Is just crazy. Whoop! There he goes. I mean, it looks unreal. To play at full speed. And Bradley's up for it. Yonk! I mean, 2 hands on the ball, pins it to the backboard, and then rips it away. I mean, just ridiculous. That I can't even fathom. If I just tried, I can't. If I just was trying to say, let me see if I can jump that high, every ligament in my body would shatter.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, forget about it. Yeah, I jump up, like coming up the stairs and I almost like croak. So I just think like, look, he's just like an absolute freakish athlete. It's just it's insane. And I mean, we've seen this before with his dunks.
Yeah.
But to do it on the other end is pretty cool. I mean,
and he had some of those last night too.
Well, yeah, I saw those. Definitely saw those. Yeah.
So I put him on the hot list. I think we're kind of in line here, Christian, on the not list. But I'll let you start. You pick one, and I'll pick the other. How about that?
Jesus, I mean, I could go 8 different directions here, but I'll go Dolphins firing because I saw this come off this morning, off the top of the morning. Just kind of scrolling through the feed, and here comes Adam Schefter and all the NFL guys that Brian Flores has been fired by the Miami Dolphins. And it's kind of shocking. I saw some people, reporters-wise, saying like, well, he's had issues with finding coaches, and some of the players were talking like they weren't a huge fan. And then I'm just like, this guy is pretty much taken Miami and kind of shot them back up. Look, they haven't made any huge noise, but they've made leaps and bounds compared to where they were before he got there. And this guy, I think, is just a good coach. I mean, he was here for a while in New England, and when he was calling the plays, or so we think, he was pretty good. And it's just, you could tell the difference between Matt Patricia and Brian Flores. He went to Miami and kind of turned things around quite a bit, and then you just let him go, I guess, because of whatever it is, roster manipulation between him and the GM, a number of reasons. But this guy should be pretty much, of all the guys let go, he's probably number 1 on the list that should get another job like right away.
Oh yeah, he shoots to the top of the list, I think, for a lot of these job openings. It makes no sense because, like we talked about, all the teams that had all the reasons in the world to try and lose yesterday, that went out and played hard. And the Dolphins went out and played hard. And not only that, they played with scheme. So, I mean, coaching was a factor in their victory. Which also, I mean, coaching can only go so far because you need players to execute that coaching. So players were buying in to his coaching in what was a meaningless game for them, right? Their stakes were, there was nothing at stake other than the spirit of the game and competitiveness and, hey, wanting to stick it to a divisional rival. But Brian Flores got that team up to play and kept them on the rails despite, what, a 1-7 start?
Yeah.
So
they came back. They were 1-7, and they finished 9-7.
So a coach clearly has the room.
9-8.
If he can keep a team that at one point is 1-7, and yes, we said it on these airways, his job might be in jeopardy here. This is such a bad start. You're close to getting fired midseason. You start this bad with having some expectations, and you right the ship by winning 7 in a row, putting yourself in playoff contention, and then you get fired. And so it's clearly a power struggle, something with the GM.
Yeah.
If I'm Flores, I'm rightfully ticked. You could have had Justin Herbert.
I know, right?
Who knows?
I mean,
maybe last night, maybe he wasn't going to be fired. Then maybe last night there was a little extra, him and the GM or somebody's there watching that Chargers-Raiders game, and maybe he just got in another little shot. Like, that could have been our guy. Could have had him.
There are some rumors they want Jim Harbaugh down there, and then there's some rumors refuting it. So I don't know what the hell is going on down there. But hey, I mean, for the Patriots, it's kind of a good thing because Flores kind of owns you right now. You're 3-1 against the Patriots. Flores is.
That's the other thing. you clearly have a coaching advantage. You've had Bill Belichick's number in the division.
You went 2-0 against New England. Pretty good in the division. You finished 9-8 after starting 1-7. You fired.
Unbelievable.
Makes no sense.
So yeah, Nick in the comment section, the fact that Flores doesn't have a job, but Joe Judge does, is absolutely ridiculous and hysterical. Colin, Dolphins equal dumpster fire. And then here we go. Pete and Gansett. Maybe Flores gets a job again as Pat's defensive coordinator. No shot. 2 reasons. Bill's son is not going to be like pushed back depth chart. And also Flores doesn't need to rehab like his image. I don't think he needs to like. This isn't like, you know, Josh McDaniels crawling back, Matt Patricia crawling back, you know, to like, please give me another chance to prove myself. No, that's not the case here at all.
No, he's going to be in line for a coaching job.
He'll be in line for a head coaching job, and if he doesn't land one, he will 100% be a high-level defensive assistant.
I'll tell you what,
with a good
I
team.
would take him back in a second.
Oh, would love it.
Definitely take him back.
Would love it, but it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
So, I don't know where he, you know, what the best spot for him is, you know.
Tough to say, yeah, but I mean, there's a lot of openings, and there's, you know, more to come. Maybe Denver, a place like that. Maybe, who knows? I mean, look, Denver is an interesting spot because their defense is kind of talented, kind of not. It's like a weird situation there, but I feel like you get those guys to play. Still need a quarterback. Maybe the Bears, another situation that's kind of weird. Their defense is like half talented, and you got a quarterback kind of on the rise, maybe in Fields. So there's a couple spots where I would definitely look at it. I mean, if I'm the Bears or the Broncos or any team that just let a coach go, Brian Flores getting fired jumps immediately to the top of my list. I mean, it's not even close.
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, they don't know yet what they're going to do down in Houston, but Nick Caserio's down there. I know they're saying they're considering keeping David Culley, but that's not a sure thing. I think now that Flores is on the market,
Houston's another good spot. Yeah,
Houston's another good spot. You know,
he knows Caserio too, so that would not be. And also, supposedly Deshaun Watson was in on playing in Miami because of Flores and the coaching style down there.
Exactly.
So, I mean, look, Caserio connection. Deshaun Watson maybe will play for you. I mean, who knows? So if I'm Houston, that's a big one.
Yeah. Nick says, anyone who calls a QB sneak on 3rd and 9 inside your own 5 deserves to be fired.
Well, why don't you go listen to his explanation and then decide whether he wants to be fired? He should be fired either way, but yeah.
What was his explanation?
It was a whole bunch of nothing is what it was. We didn't want the same thing to happen last week, and basically that, yeah.
Oh, man. So I had also had the Flores firing on the not list, but I will circle back here to vent once more. They've been on this list. I mean, we should be keeping track, you know, to see who is the naughtiest not of the year for real. But NFL officiating once again rearing its ugly head, and what compounds it is the fact that, like I already said, we will go to replay, take 10 minutes away from the game to go and say, oh, somehow we calculate a ball should be placed 6 inches further when we measure the game by yards. And, or at least could say, hey, the ball should be placed at this point on the logo. Inside the number. You could say, we'll place it, you know, there's a land that we're going to use 6 inches, and then basically not even spot the ball in the right place. And so we'll spend 10 minutes to do that. But we can't review subjective things like last night in the Raiders game. You know, Josh Jacobs gets face masked. It was a missed call. It happens, guys. You don't see, your view's obstructed, you know, or just the angle you're at. You can't see something happen like that. We'll review whether the ball moved an inch or not, and then not even really move it an inch. But we can't go and replay a guy getting his head ripped off when that's missed. Yes, speed of the game. Brandon Bolden, he launched at the guy. He actually tried to commit a foul. But he missed. And either way, the guy's a runner, so it shouldn't matter anyways. Misinterpretation of the rule, and he missed. And I understand the refs, real time you see, you think he had to have hit him. You throw the flag. but he didn't.
My bigger question is
replay should be able to fix that. Something that is subjective, or sorry, that is not subjective. That is very objective. A face mask, whether someone hit something. Why can we not review those plays? And so officials continue to get things wrong, and nobody again, pass interference, a ball thrown 20 yards. Do you guys remember that the whole uncatchable thing? Like, it's just bad. Hopefully it doesn't affect playoff games, but it will. And you just hope that it's not like a game-ending call, something like we saw with the Rams and the Saints a few years ago. But it's just infuriating when they still make bad calls, and we can review some things, but can't review the easy things. It blows my mind.
Yeah, my bigger thing is I don't know how the officials determine when to pick up a flag and when not to. Because there's about, 11 on the field at one time, and someone's got to see that Brandon Bolden didn't hit this guy. Just as just a prime example, because I was watching at the time. I'm sure there's others. It's just weird. We can replay PI. We can replay pretty much anything under the sun at any given time, but we can't replay the actual things that need replay. It's kind of funky the way that works. You replay everything that doesn't need it, but you can't replay every situation in which a bad call is made. I mean, there should be. I find it hard to believe in this day and age we can't have a few cameras from the top of the dome, from wherever you want to put it, top of the stadium, and one guy sitting up top that says, if they throw a flag and it's an absolutely ridiculous call, pick the thing up. These officials will just throw flags, pick them up randomly when it doesn't need to be picked up, and then not pick it up when it's pretty obvious. Yeah. So it's just kind of becoming this cluster F in these games. And even Gene Steratore yesterday, giving these guys an excuse while oh, it's a tough judgment call. Not really if you look at the replay that we're seeing on TV. I mean, it's pretty clear as day. One guy up top, an NFL employee, no bias there, making a call on a replay. Yeah.
On things that are objective.
Obvious.
Cut and dry. Pass interference, no, I don't want some arbiter all of a sudden coming and being like, actually, let's assess pass interference over here. I saw it. We don't need that. We don't need that sort of interference. But something like that, a face mask, or a guy, whether he even made contact with the head, if he didn't, big hits are still legal. Unfortunately, guys see big hits and they think that it must be something that was dangerous or reckless or unnecessary. Guess what? It's football. The whole thing is dangerous, unnecessary, and reckless. There's also, you see it a lot of these now, these phantom weird backside holding calls.
Yeah.
Has nothing to do with the play, and a guy literally just overpowers something. I think it was a Broncos player on Saturday just trying to get out for a screen. So he blocked for 2 seconds and then shed his guy. He threw him and then ran out for a screen, and they called holding. Holding is holding a guy, not throwing him away like a rag doll. So, the officiating...
How about the call on Jaylen Mills yesterday? Did everything right. Hand fighting with a receiver. When do we see that? Oh my God, look at that penalty. Hand fighting with the receiver, but he gets his head around, makes a slight play on the ball while kind of moving the receiver. And instead of, Tua can't throw it down the field, so he just lobs it up there for PI at the 1. It's so weird that they cannot replay some of this stuff that are just blatantly wrong.
Yeah. Colin in the comments section, the incorrect flag pickups / non-pickups happened a lot this year. Yeah. And it's not like there's been any consistency. We'll see Josh Allen running to the sideline, trying to leap for a first down, get pushed in the field of play, and they say, oh, he was going out of bounds. That's a no-no. You hit him too hard near the sideline. And then Mac Jones gets dragged down. Whether you thought he was trying to be held up or not, is pulled down well out of bounds. And they say, well, he was really trying to help him up. He didn't mean to knock him down. So we're not gonna throw a flag on that.
No consistency.
You can't legislate intent. And so you have to just look in some of these, it's cut and dry. And then, like you said, officials, if they don't throw it, fine. No flag. Once the flag comes out for a clear and obvious penalty, you got to stick with the call on the what you saw initially, because you're not replaying it going to be well enough in your mind. And then if it's a bad call, yeah, somebody buzz down from up top and say, they do it now with regular plays. If something was a catch versus not a catch, incomplete, that wasn't a fumble, they don't have to go to full replay. They don't even have to coaches have to challenge it. Somebody buzzes down and says, hey, whoa. He caught that. It should be 1st and 10 here. Or no, he did not catch that. Move it back.
It's not like it's going to slow the game down.
I like that. That's been good. The rest of it has just been...
But you need more of it. That's the problem.
Awful. So that completes Hot and Not with our brand spanking new intro. So we've hit on it a lot, but just quickly going over the other list of fired coaches. So Nagy gone, Zimmer gone in Minnesota. You also have, obviously we knew Urban Meyer was gone a while ago. And now you throw Flores into that mix as well. Don't know about a couple of other guys. They'll probably maybe be, a few days here and maybe some more trickle out. And given how the playoffs go, we don't know. The Raiders, could end up being an open coaching gig. You really don't know. I don't think anybody else is really in any danger. Somebody would have to do something really, really stupid. I'm surprised that Dan Campbell's staying in Detroit. You said, Christian, you thought he was going to stay, and it seems like he is. All right, Vic Fangio, correct, with Denver. Thank you, Nick, in the comment section. So those are the job openings. I'd say a lot really depends on a lot of these places. What's your quarterback
about Jacksonville,
situation,
right? Jacksonville's an opening, maybe?
Jacksonville, yeah. Oh, yeah. As I said, Urban Meyer gone a while ago. We knew about that.
Yeah. Whale gone.
They have already, started the interview process.
I saw someone's interviewing Gerard Mayo. Maybe it was Denver. I remember, yeah.
Which, Gerard, go, take the interview. That'll be good experience. That would be a disaster for him, I think. For a franchise that already hates its former Patriot employees.
Who's the quarterback? Locke still, right? So.
Yeah. I just don't think...
Bridgewater?
I don't know if it's different. Look at the successful head coaches. It's not about, being the man. You have to manage the team, and you have to have a staff around you, and you it's like being a CEO. You coach the coaches as well, and you're just making sure that the whole ship is being steered in the right direction. And I just don't know if Gerard, I think he's a good assistant, from what I've heard. Ready to be a head coach? I don't think it would be good for him. I'd like to see him kind of move up the ranks and be a full go somewhere.
Where's he going to go?
Be a coordinator.
If he could get a coordinator job elsewhere, it's not going to be here,
hey,
right?
If B-Flow becomes the head coach over in Houston, go to Houston, be defensive coordinator there.
Yeah,
that's a good situation. I think if he rushes to a head coaching gig, now I didn't think Flores would be that successful. Now, yes, I know he got fired, but we all think that that's a joke. Flores was an assistant for he was a D coordinator for a short period of time. He was an assistant for like 7 years before that. So I don't know. Gerard Mayo, hey, good for you. Go do the interview. Do some networking here. Go through the process, feel what it's all about.
You see that networking again?
I don't even remember what I did. Don't even remember.
No, we'll replay it.
There was a spark of genius. You can't repeat that. Do a little networking.
There you go. All right.
Is it running? I don't know. Networking, running? I don't know. I don't know what it is. I know what you're thinking, Christian. Get your mind out of the gutter. Colin in the comment section. We'll see what the investigation digs up about Bruce Arians. I don't believe it will reveal anything incriminating on him personally. Yeah, I guess we can, if we want to spend, we'll do an Antonio Brown minute here. They had a press conference. They finally cut him last week. Bruce Arians came out and basically, I think, confirmed Antonio Brown's story to a certain degree, that he was like, yeah, he was complaining at halftime about targets. He was dealing with an injury, but he was cleared to play. He never said to the training staff, he never came to the coaches or the training staff about an injury. We calmed him down at halftime. Third quarter comes around. We ask for his position group. He doesn't want to go out on the field. I go ask him what's going on. He says, I'm not getting my touches. And it's like, okay, get on the field. And he said, no, I'm not playing. And Bruce Arians said, then get the F out of here. And we saw what we saw. So I think the Bucs are probably in the clear. I don't think that they're dumb enough to try. I mean, it looks like they bent over backwards to try and get him to see a doctor. Hey, just see our guy, and we can say that you're hurt, and we'll put you on IR. I think that benefited them too, to try and keep him away from other teams if they thought he was going to sign somewhere. Then AB starts going after Tom Brady and Alex Guerrero, and it's like, you're going after the people who are the only people that gave you the benefit of the doubt this whole time. So AB is a free agent. He can sign with anybody if he so chooses. I don't think he will. I haven't heard anything that any team is particularly interested. So
I mean, who would be? He just ran himself out of town with the greatest quarterback of all time. I mean, that's a pretty good situation, you ask me.
Dallas. Yeah, I think Dallas would be the type
They don't
of team.
need him.
I'm just saying that the only team that, KC, I don't think needs to add any drama.
But if you're Dallas like that, you have CeeDee Lamb, you have Amari Cooper. Do you want the headache of Antonio Brown being the number 2, number 3, not getting his touches all over again? I don't think so. I mean, I think you stay clear of that.
I don't know. They're the only team with the owner who would be like, go get him. So that's it. And I guess I didn't even realize if did the NFL start some sort of investigation into this incident with. I mean, you gotta imagine if he did say anything like crazy on the sideline. There's footage. Colin says Rams are pretty short on wide receivers. That would be nuts. Him and Odell.
That might be the one team that I would say, okay, they'll do anything. So maybe.
Let's do this. We will check the Twitter sphere. Let's see. Antonio Brown. Not Antonio Braun. Antonio Brown. I don't think apparently Kanye wants to hit the studios with Antonio Brown. Like we said, put him
that's enough of the Antonio Brown talk I've had.
Put those two and Kyrie in a room. Would love to see it.
Yeah, jeez. Start a podcast.
Yeah, I don't see anything about any team. Even whispers. People speculated that the Cowboys, the Rams are another good one, but there's been no actual reporting on that. So there we go. Let's check in here on the old national championship. Alabama up 3-0, 5:46 to go.
Ooh, shootout.
In the first quarter. So long way to go in that game. But Christian, I see that you have. We're gonna do it. We're gonna do it. You have listed the Celtics in your topics for tonight. So
just brief on the Celtics, because I think we could do this every week and it'll be the same thing. But I just make a note of Jaylen Brown because I think he's been impressive lately. And he's a guy that I think you worry about the injuries maybe. Well, you definitely worry about the injuries. I think that's really the only thing. You watch him play and he gets better every year. And even this year, look, the triple-double I could do without. But the way he got it is more impressive to me than the actual stats. So it's not like he's scoring 50 points and then, getting 15 boards and a few assists at the end of a game. No, he's 19 points, double figures in assists and rebounds. They're still the same team, right? Yeah, that true. But I just think Jaylen Brown in particular has been impressive over the last stretch of games here since he's come back from injury. I still think this team is the same. I think you have to make moves to incorporate guys around Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. What that looks like, I don't know. But I feel like it's worth a minute on Brown because he's been so good the last week or two.
Yeah, I mean he's been impressive. He has the monster game. He barely misses a game-tying layup versus the Spurs. They keep having some of these up and down games. I mean, the first game against the Knicks, the Celtics are a Greek tragedy, which are equal parts comedy and terror. So you have, a 25-point lead that you blow. You tie the game with 1 second, and I think everybody, myself included, said, Well, I mean, the Knicks. I thought it was going to be Evan Fournier, who basically only has good games against, averaging like 10 points a game, dropped 41 against the season.
Classic.
That first game. I said, oh, he's probably going to hit a crazy shot here. It ended up being Barrett, who banks in a 3 with Tatum draped up. I love people were getting on Tatum. Oh, come on. You want to be a good defense. It's like he literally was in the guy's mug.
That's where I get my backup, right? Like, let's not be ridiculous. Like, oh, Tatum sucks. He couldn't even get. He was literally right on top of him.
He fouled him.
He was basically like in his airspace as much as you could be without stepping on the guy. And he just made a crazy shot. I mean, how many times is that going to go in?
Yeah.
1 out of 8? 1 out of 10?
So
1 out of 8? Who says 1 out of 8? That's the dumbest thing I've ever said on the show, I think. 1 out of 5, 1 out of 10. Never say 1 out of 8.
Sorry, that's too funny. So yeah, they've had these up and down games again. But what I liked was what Brown said after that triple-double game. Him and talking about how him and Jaylen talk about making it work. I think the two. We wondered, can those two work?
Jason.
I think. Yes. Sorry.
Jaylen and Jaylen.
Yeah, he's talking to himself.
Yeah.
I can make this work. Yes, I can. Yes, we can. I can. We can. I think it's good that they're having those discussions with each other, and now I believe that they are committed to making it work with each other. It seems like they've both said it. It seems like
It sounds like like one of those shows on like HBO or something, or not HBO, like MTV, like Next, or what is this, a dating show? They're just trying to work through their problems, and they're really committed to each other, and they're gonna work it out.
Yeah. Well, listen, it's something different. We're getting something different out of these guys than we've gotten the last few years,
which is good. Yeah.
I'm willing to. I said this coming into this year. I mean, and they ended up doing more with this roster than I thought they would, with putting pieces on it and trying to tinker. I was fine with taking the step back and letting those two guys develop, and because that's it. Those two guys are your all-stars. Let them grow. Let them have some more growing pains, and say, listen, our first few years was a ridiculous start, but we now need to figure out how to do it together, the two of us, with a supporting cast.
I mean, if you want to put a positive spin on it, right? Maybe it shows some form of maturity. Who knows? Growth there. Them talking, them going about things a little bit differently than trying to get in the All-Star game and get an MVP and get their stats and their extra money. Not to say those things aren't on their list. I think they are. Obviously, they're on every NBA player's list nowadays. But maybe it shows some different approach, which is kind of nice because I think they need something different.
Yeah. So I that's refreshing. I do still think there's going to be a roster shakeup. Neither of those two is moving or leaving this team this year. So I do think guys like Dennis Schroeder. Probably Schroeder here.
Just ask yourself, what would Scal say? And Scal would say Schroeder.
So yeah. I liked hearing those comments. So I'm happy to see that those two at least
we agree.
Are agreeing on it. Yay! Woo! Look at that. Let's go ahead and talk about ye old Boston Bruins, Christian. Disappointingly, I thought we were going to be able to see Tuukka Rask here in Providence, but that didn't happen. So what is going on with that situation? And I feel like this team is putting themselves in the position that they want to try and bring Tuukka back and maybe make some sort of little run here, when I think that they should just be selling. Don't get emotional about this again. And go on some defunct run and lose in Game 7 of the first round, if you even make it.
Yeah, well, since all those games were postponed and they're 4-1, they just scored 4 goals in the second period against the Caps to take the lead 6-3 there. So they're playing a little bit better, and you can see it too, which is kind of nice. We might actually have a real hockey season, which is good because I don't know what else you have behind this. It's not like in the next few years they're going to have all these young guys and young guns coming up and So it's good to see that they're kind of coming together a little bit. Now, Nick Foligno just went down. I mean, it looked pretty bad, pretty gruesome injury on his ankle, knee, somewhere in his lower body. Some guy fell on it. So, and that's never good with a skate on, especially. But they're playing well here in the last few games, and it's not just the scores and they're beating up on bad teams. It's the eye test for me that is telling me they are improving in some way. Defensively, I think they still have question marks. I think they have question marks all over the roster, really. But guys like Howla and Hall now is kind of coming on. Maybe that was the roster shakeup. I know they moved Pasta down to the second line to kind of, get more scoring from the bottom 9. I mean, really, they've had no scoring from that bottom 9 much of the season. So, since those games were postponed, they've come back here 4-1. Looking good tonight again after being down 2-0. So I like what I see from the Bruins. I still think they're in a weird spot in terms of would you sell, would you buy? I'm still buying because I think it's Bergeron's last go around. The Tuukka Rask thing, though, just quickly, I don't love. I just sending Swayman down seems just like a waste right now, especially because I guess Omar's playing better than he was in the early part, but neither of those guys are playing that terribly. And it's just, we're going to have a 3-headed monster, except for the young kid's going to be sent down to Providence, and who knows what happens from there. So I've just seen this movie too many times before. Rask is going to the team loves him. And I think that's part of the problem is guys like Bergeron, Marchand, and all these guys have been here so long with Rask that it's, he's our guy and we're going to ride or die with him. Whether he's injured in the playoffs, we're going to ride or die with him, even though Swayman looks like he's good to go.
Yep.
So again, I don't love this. And it seems like he's just going to come in, he's going to take over, and that's going to be that. Swayman's going to be moved down. That's at least what, from what I hear, that's what it's going to be.
Yeah, I don't like it. I mean, we both said at the end of the year last year, it was like, time to move on. It's time to just rip off the Band-Aid. You already had Char had already left. You got Krejci ready to leave. Let's just do what you got to do to start resetting and reloading this team. And that era is done. It's over. It was a fun run. They should have won more, but whatever. There's nothing now that you can do about that. And so trying to hang on to that to try and reclaim something, it's going to put you in a worse and worse position every single year.
Well, Rask is coming back this year, right? I wouldn't keep my I would keep my eye out for David Krejci. I think he could be back next year.
Really?
Especially if Bergeron's gone, he's going to have that number 1 spot right there for him, kept nice and warm. So I would not be surprised if they bring him back.
No way. I don't think so. I mean, then why did he leave in the first place? Was he just like
he wanted to go home and play for a year in the Czech with his family and everything?
How old is it? 35? I mean, okay. So here's the thing. That happens, then what are we doing? I mean, you're just gonna let's.
It's a revolving door.
Can Bobby Orr come back? Come out? Can he lace him up?
Here's the other problem, right? Is
get Cam Neely in here. Come on, Cam. Come on down.
Hey, I would take him on my 4th line. Honestly, I just don't know what other choice you have. There's nobody coming. Stanika is not. I don't think he's going to be a top line center. So if Bergeron is gone, which I don't really know, it's a hard one to call. He wants to go year to year. Whether he's gone from Boston, I think could be a possibility if he wants to go play somewhere and win maybe one more time or try to. It would shock me if he did that, but I guess he is getting up there, so why not? This is the time to do it. But they don't have any other option. Krejci says, I'm coming back to the NHL. The Bruins will 100% reach out to Krejci and have him come back. Because it's Coyle and then everybody else. I mean, it's just like that's all you have there, and there's no young guns. Like I said, the drafts have just been so dreadful that you just do not have. This is the reason Taylor Hall is here for a long-term deal, 4 years, because there's nobody there and waiting. Oscar Steen has been a bit of a surprise. He's played really well here for just coming up from Providence. And he's probably going to stay in the lineup. I would imagine if DeBrusk comes back, given his situation where he wants to trade and all that crap, Steen should stay in the lineup if he's playing better. And I think Cassidy will do that. So That's like the one guy so far we've seen come up from Providence and make a difference. Outside of that, it's not like they have like Patrick Kane waiting in the wings to come up from Providence.
Yeah.
You just don't have those guys. So if Krejci were to say, "Oh yeah, I'll come back and play," especially if number one center is open or whatever, number two play with Hall, I think the Bruins would 100% do it if Krejci is willing to do it.
I guess. I've been ready to move on for a while and just it's gonna have to get ugly. You're gonna have to take some big steps back. But
it shouldn't be ugly, but it will be because of the drafting situation.
Yeah. So anyway, that brings us to our wild card round picks. We've already discussed these matchups a little bit, but now we will say for real. Are you for real? Who we think is going to win? Christian, we went 2-2 against each other last week in our 4 games, so I shaved some points throughout an entire 18-week season. You have a 153 to 151 lead. How about that? Pretty good. I'd say, I mean, listen, I think because we don't have anything actually riding on this and we pick these games for fun, our record is pretty good. If there was actual money on the line, we probably would have lost a lot of money. So it's a good thing that we don't actually.
Big comeback for you this year too, which is nice because last year was not even fun. I mean, it's just like
I didn't pick the Jets a whole bunch. I think that's kind of what.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's at least one win a week. I mean, that's pretty good. So we'll start there. I mean, you and Paul Crew both shaved points, so we'll.
I mean, you helped me out. I picked I'm probably one of very few people who picked both the Jaguar, aside from their own fans, potentially, as an outsider who picked the Jaguars and Lions to win in weeks that they did.
Yeah, I mean that's that's
which
fair.
was your doing. Which was
I
your
don't even
doing.
think their own fans would have picked them. So
yeah, true.
Take that for what you will.
They bet the other side. So anyway, let's go ahead here. We have Saturday games once again, which I am not happy about because I'll be working. So let's go ahead here. I'm gonna miss the Patriots game.
You know what to do.
Hopefully it's not worth watching.
You got the mobile cell phone device.
We've done that before.
Yes, we have.
2014, calling a hockey game together.
Ravens.
Okay, that'll do it for the first quarter or for the first period. Goodbye. Click. Pull up the game.
Ravens.
Yeah. Go ahead. All right. First match.
All right. Saturday afternoon, Las Vegas at Cincy.
Not LC, LV. At Cincinnati. Man, I wanted the Patriots to play the Bengals because I just say it's a team that's had some ups and downs and doesn't have the experience. So you'd have an edge there. I think this is going to be an absolute shootout. And like I said, I have this feeling about the Raiders, so I'm going to pick them. But this is going to be a game potentially played in the 40s. I don't think there's going to be much defense.
And we all know by now when Andrew has a feeling, I go the opposite direction, so I'm going Cincinnati.
It's all the analysis Christian needs. Oh, that's what Andrew is doing? I'll just pick the other thing.
Well, I think a Bengal has a fair chance against a Raider, so that's my real analysis. So I'm going Bengals. I just like them at home. I mean, I usually pick
in the jungle
home team, especially in the playoffs. I mean, in the playoffs, home field I think matters a little bit more in the playoffs than it does in the regular season. And coming into the jungle, you better be ready to rumble.
Okay.
All right. Patriots at Bills.
You go first, Christian.
Bills.
Why?
I give the Patriots a solid 12% chance to win this game because I think the Bills are going up and the Patriots are going down. I mean, it's just look.
So wait, 12%? You just 12%?
12%.
So you give them a 1 in 8 chance?
Yeah. 1 out of 8. Hey, it's better than rating something 1 out of 8. Yes, I'm going Bills because the last time they played with non-inclement weather, Josh Allen smoked you and best player in the field. So now it's postseason time. I just don't think the Patriots have much of a shot in this game. I think it'll be closer than the second time around where Josh Allen's running all over the field doing whatever he wants, because I think having the tape maybe will help. I hope. So I hope it'll be a competitive game. But Mac Jones on the road, hostile environment, rookie quarterback. I don't love the spot for the Patriots.
I think the Patriots would. I wanted them to play the Bills because, the Bengals, because I said, an inexperienced playoff team, and yes, it's a team you haven't seen yet, but I think you'd have some advantages there. A pocket quarterback who you could maybe pin your ears after and go get. I think the only way the Patriots have a shot, you have to play mistake-free football, which they've struggled to do here down the stretch. And your opponent has to be somewhat complicit in their own demise, which the Bills are more than capable of doing. But like you said, I think if the Bills are smart, they just put this game in Josh Allen's hands. Unlike they, chose to do in the Monday night game where they tried to throw it in a windstorm, when they should have let Allen just kind of run around and do his thing. He had his best game of the year against you, the next time. So I just think the triple threat with Josh Allen, the Patriots just don't have the personnel to match up with any sort of 3 wide receiver look, and Allen being able to pass, run, or hand off. And it's just going to be a tough day. If the Patriots play mistake-free, they could maybe keep it close. But Bills
Put
will
a percentage
win.
on it, because I have 12%. What do you go?
I give the Patriots about a 15% chance.
Oh, I heard and I thought you were going 50.
No, I would have given them 50-50 versus the Bengals. I would have given that a 50-50 because I think even if you make mistakes versus the Bengals are going to make mistakes too. They're going to do something stupid. They're going to have a chance to kick a field goal and then go for it.
Too high.
I'm taking Buffalo. We've said this
days,
would love to see it. But I'm not going to be able to see it. And secondly, I don't think you match up well. It's not a good matchup. Once the game starts, crazy things could happen. The Patriots would have to play a perfect game though, and the Bills would have to implode.
And the way it's trending, it's not going that way. So
yeah. So,
all right. Well, that was fun. Sunday football. Philly at Tampa.
What's the spread on this game?
Well, why don't we check it out if they have it up on the schedule? -8.5 for Tampa.
Wow. I do think Philly can keep this close.
I'm taking the points, but I'm taking Tampa.
Because Tom Brady's something like 0-10 in his last something primetime games against the spread, something crazy.
Yep.
So I do think that Philly will keep it close, if they don't make a whole bunch of mistakes. But I'm still picking Tampa. But I think this will be a good game. I think this will be a close game. Tampa's obviously not at full strength, and Philly, I think, has the ability to do some things. So Tampa, but I would like those 8.5 points if I was so inclined.
Yeah, Tampa. I mean, I'm picking Tampa to win the Super Bowl until I'm proven wrong. So why not? Tampa. San Fran at the Cowboys.
I'll let you go first, Christian. We'll alternate here.
I want to pick Dallas because I think they're going to win the game. But I am one of few that believe in Mr. Garoppolo. So I'm going to pick the 49ers. And I think they've been pretty competitive all year long. It would not shock me if they get blown out by 1 million in this game. But I'm going to pick them anyway because I like Jimmy G. So I'm going to go with Jimmy G.
You kind of surprised me, Christian. So I am actually, this is my upset pick of the week. I'm going with the Niners too because
oh man,
because I don't like Dallas. Dallas likes to do this roller coaster thing, and we blew out the Eagles in a meaningless game. And so now they're at home playing a team that has been playing playoff football for about 2 months. That is hot. And Dallas just has the propensity to play down in these games. They should win. Dallas should win the Super Bowl. I mean, I think they're one of the most complete teams when they play right. Yet they don't show up from week to week.
Well, their run defense is a little spotty.
Yeah, but I mean, at the end of the day, who they're going to be going against, it's not going to be the end of the world. This isn't like, 6-7 years ago. Like if it was putrid, if it was the worst, yes, that's a problem because a good team would just run it down your throats. They don't have the worst run defense ever. I just have a feeling about San Fran, and if they were playing anyone else, I'd say I'd pick them. But Dallas, I don't like. They've disappointed all year long, and it would be fitting for them to go out this way. So, I'm also taking San Fran.
Well, that's boring. I thought it was going to be against the grain there. Pittsburgh at Kansas City. I think we're in agreement on this one.
Well, everybody's bummed that Ben Roethlisberger got into the postseason. And to prove them wrong, to prove that they belong.
You're picking Kansas City, we know.
Yes. I give Pittsburgh just about the same amount of chance to win this game as I do the Patriots to beat the Bills. 15%.
Oh, too high. Too high.
Too high?
I think the Pittsburgh Steelers has about I'll go 3.5% chance. Yeah. 3.5% chance to win this game.
Can I see? Can you show your work? You need to show your work.
I don't have any work. I just it's all up here, baby. All up there. I want to put a stipulation on this game because every time I do, the underdog wins. So there's got to be something here, and I'll think about it while we go to the next game.
A stipulation. Okay. What, I have to some sort of task that I'll have to complete. If the Steelers win this game.
If the Steelers win this game, I will throw a pie in my own face.
I was gonna say
on the show live.
How about this? How about you have to eat a bowl of kashi on the show?
That's better. I like that better. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's less messy. I like that more.
Yeah. Because
right,
if we were gonna pie you, I mean, I'd want to do it in person, and that's still not a thing.
And nobody wants Pittsburgh to win, and now they really don't, because if the Steelers win, I am going to ASMR some kashi on the show live.
Yes.
There it is. Peanut butter, though. Only the peanut butter. Everything else is garbage.
If Pitt wins, C-Law eats kashi. Yes.
And I'm not even worried because they're going to lose. 3.5% chance. All right. Monday night, Arizona at the Rams.
Two teams that have been backsliding. Gosh. I feel like the Rams, like Stafford is there's too much Lions in him to just be like, well, it's that time of year to not do anything and go home, right?
Yeah, time to get in that 1-16 mentality. Let's go.
Arizona is just falling apart too. I mean, I think they had a lead yesterday, and then Seattle, who's had an awful year, came back on them. Ugh.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Not
you know what?
Ideal.
I'm gonna pick Arizona only because I like the quarterback matchup. I like Kyler Murray more than I like Matt Stafford. I wanted to be able to root for Matt Stafford this year. I thought this would be great for him. Finally, he's away from Detroit. But sometimes it's just like that stink just can't get off you. And he looks like a guy who is just playoff time. How often has he been in that position?
He's just got that lion stink all over him.
That lion stank. So I don't trust it. I don't trust it one bit, which is unfortunate for him because I thought this would be his year. So I'm going to pick Arizona.
I tend to go with the defensive side of the ball here, and for that reason, I'm going Rams. And they're at home. Should be pretty loud there, and I think in the playoffs, it's a little bit tighter. And I will take the team that has Jalen Ramsey and Aaron Darnold and Von Miller. Forgot his name. Von Miller on my team. I don't love the Stafford. I'll be honest. I don't love the Stafford matchup just because I feel like he does have a little lion in him. And he needs to have a lot of lion and start roaring, and win this game. If they are able to get through this game, I'll feel a lot better about them, depending on how they do it, because I think their defense is legit. But I don't trust the quarterback quite yet. I feel like he should have lit it up this year, and he didn't get there. He does have a really good wide receiver, though. I would like Cooper Kupp on my team.
Oh, Triple Crown.
Yeah.
Led the league in receptions,
Guy can
yards,
play, man.
and touchdowns.
He is money. But can he do it in the postseason? Everybody wants to say he's better than Julian Edelman. Can he do it this time of year? We'll see.
Yeah. Helped me to a fantasy football championship. Yes.
Ooh.
So, Christian, we are different on one game this week.
2.
No.
Yeah, Cincy and Vegas, and then
whoops! You are right. I missed
Arizona
the fact that we
and,
differed on the first. Aha, correct. Since we have fewer and fewer games, do we want to value these wildcard games and subsequent playoff games differently, either from week to week, or we just say, hey, all playoff games worth X, or do we want to say wildcard games worth this points?
Not this week. Not this week. Wildcard. Keep it at the same. Divisional, conference, and Super Bowl. We will talk, sir. We will talk.
Okay, so for now,
maybe 2, 4, and 10, huh? 2, 4, 10, right in a row.
For now, Marcus of Queensberry rules. So I can tie you this week after everything. How about that? So I did want to go back to one comment way at the beginning. From Colin, happy anniversary, Andrew and Christian. I wish you many more fruitful and joyous years of discussing sports. So proud to have watched you come full circle twice. Hashtag keep it 360. So,
well, you can't leave out the heart and the kissing emoji.
Can I show? Will it show the whole thing? There we go.
Nice.
On screen.
Nice.
On screen for all to see. So,
appreciate it, Colin.
Obviously, really appreciate Colin, all our listeners. And we will check the email mailbox. So if you're one of our podcast listeners, we know you're out there. Thank you for finding us on Sounder FM or wherever you get your podcasts from. You can always reach us by emailing the show at the360sportshow@gmail.com. And I am just going to check. It looks like we do not have any messages from there or through the website this week. So that will do it. Thank you, everybody, for joining and listening with us here tonight live. If you want to go and switch over now, Alabama and Georgia tied 3-3. So go figure. A bit of a slugfest there. And we'll discuss how that game plays out next week, along with the wild card games of the NFL playoffs. So until then, I'm Andrew Pizzelli. He's Christian Lauber. Have a good night, everybody.
See you later.